All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the third Sunday. And every time I come on the show, I always dedicate the show to somebody. And tonight, I'm going to dedicate the show to, I call this person an unsung hero. And what I mean by that, this person does works her tail off for the community, does a lot of great work, never complains, always underneath the radar, never has a bad thing to say about anybody, no matter what the situation is. Just a great, smart, always bringing you a lot of love and a lot of support. And when my mother died, was right there, took care of family. And the show is dedicated to Kim Congo. Kim Congo does a lot of great work, always helping people. And if you ever watch her show about the children, Congo's Kids Corner, she gives me hope that there's a great future because of the things she exposed us to. And my highest rating show was when Kim was co-hosting with me, and we did the about the insurance, about the nursing home. And like I said again, no matter what, Kim always has something nice to say. Even when I want to make something an issue with a certain attitude, she never goes that direction. Always pleasant, always there, takes care of everybody. And she does not sit back on her laurels. She works hard each and every day. And tonight, Kim, this show is dedicated to you for all the work you do. And you are very much appreciated. If nobody hasn't told you in a while, I'm telling you, the community tells you almost every day, but the show is dedicated to you. And right now, I would like to, we was going to have one show, and next month I want everybody to tune in. We was going to have it tonight, but some things came up, and I had somebody filling in who's a great man, and I'm going to get to him in a minute. But tune in next month. We're going to have a show about people who have a trade. And tonight I have 5 young men, it won't be tonight, 5 young men who all bought houses, was in their 30s, electricians, carpenters, but the uncles and the cousins, and they learned from other people and doing very well. And they're going to tell their experience, and they're going to also tell how they got started and what you can do to get involved. And we have the statistics from the studies to show about the trade in college. It's going to be an interesting show. But tonight, speaking about interest and great things going to happen, and for the county, tonight we have the county exec, Matt Myers. I'd like to go to Matt Myers and let him introduce himself.
Good evening, Julius. Matt Meyer, Newcastle County Executive. I've been in office now 16 months and 17 days, and it continues to be an honor to serve the great people in Newcastle County. It's an honor to be on your show tonight, and among other things, honor Kim Congo and her service to the people of the city of Wilmington, the Newcastle County, and the state of Delaware.
Okay. Now tonight, again, we know there's a lot of different things going on with the county, and we're just going to ask some questions. But one thing before I want to ask is, I was watching television, I think it was the other day, and I seen something that struck me and I appreciated very much, and that was about the tax break that y'all give veterans. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Can you explain about the tax break for military?
There has historically been in Newcastle County, as there is in the state, a tax break for disabled veterans. Disabled veterans. Now, in Newcastle County, there was a residency requirement. So if you got hurt in Iraq, came to Newcastle County, you couldn't work, you had to pay your property taxes for the first 3 years you were here. There was an individual wounded pretty severely in Iraq, was unable to work, someone right here in Newcastle County. He came to his councilperson Kilpatrick. Councilman Hollins jumped right on board. Councilman Hollins is a veteran himself, is adamant feels very strongly about these issues, as I do. I spent time, as you know, living on a military base in Iraq during the war. I was a diplomat with the State Department. I feel very strongly that anyone who served our country to preserve our peace and security here back home deserves a break when they come back home, deserves an equal opportunity, an extra opportunity to make a living. And so what we did is we eliminated the residency requirement. So now any disabled veteran who moves to Newcastle County instantly gets the tax exemption on their property taxes.
Okay. And I think that is well deserved and well needed, and like to commend them for doing that. Also, talk to us about Newcastle County. What's going on? Kind of update us on some of the things that are going on in Newcastle County that right now that you can discuss.
So, Julius, we have so many exciting things going on. We have something called the Hero Help Program, which does what's called law enforcement assisted diversion. The idea of Hero Help is if you're caught using heroin, opioids, overdosing on drugs, we're not treating it like a crime, we're treating it like a disease. We make sure to work with you, work with your family, and help you get into treatment. That's grant funding we receive from the University of Baltimore and the federal government. In addition, we have a partnership with Christiana Care. Christiana Care is committed to $500,000 to take individuals calling 911 with drug overdoses. You know, what happens is people call with the drug overdose, our paramedics go out, they take the person to the emergency room, and then 2 days later, those same paramedics get almost exactly the same 911 call and go out and treat the same individual. 3 or 4 days later, same thing. What we did is we went to Christiana Care. Christiana Care has committed $500,000 to sending out community health workers to work with these individuals so that they're not clogging up the emergency rooms. Everyone knows I've waited too long sometimes in the emergency room with the real emergency. If you have a problem of long-term care and treatment, we're trying to use the information our first responders are getting to channel people to get the help that they need. In addition, let me just say one last thing. Thanks to the great work of the Route 9 library staff, Vision Academies, which is Newcastle Charter School and Eastside Charter, along with the YMCA of Delaware, we received the largest grant, the largest single grant that our library system has ever received, $2 million. $2 million in what's called the 21st Century Fund. That, over 5 years, is going to provide a large number of kids in Newcastle County an opportunity to engage in summertime learning at our libraries. So what that means, there's this problem, as I know as a former teacher, of summer learning loss. It's statistically shown that you take kids, particularly in lower income communities, you test them in May or June, you test them again in September, and there's a great deal of learning loss. So teachers are spending all this time between September and June teaching their students, and then they go off for the summer, they're not using those brain cells, and all that learning's disappeared by September. So we got a grant to make sure that a large number of kids are continuing to come to our libraries throughout the summer. And as the summer starts, if you're a parent out there, a grandparent, aunt or uncle, or know someone who has a child, please go to your local Newcastle County Library, whether it's downtown Wilmington, North Wilmington, Woodlawn, Route 9, Bear, anywhere across the county, and see what programs they have to offer. A lot of exciting programs at our libraries.
Okay, and that's good. Especially, you're talking about kids and programs. Now, I know Wilmington has a summer youth program. Do Newcastle County have a summer youth program?
We have a Newcastle County summer youth program. This year we have our largest summer youth program ever, 175 individuals. If you're interested or want more information, go on our Facebook page, reach out to us, or you can just call my office, Matt Meyer, and we'll get you information.
Okay, that's good, because I think too, part of people using their brain and learning is keeping them busy.
That's right.
And you know, so again, now that's a good thing. And you was talking about Christiana Care. What are we doing? Because matter of fact, we had I think a great show last month. We had state senator on there. Stephanie Hansen was on. I believe I'm saying it right. Was on last month, and she was dealing with the opium use, trying to get people in get people in inpatient treatment, and she was doing a lot of good work trying to navigate. And she said it was very difficult for her to navigate to get these people in. Have they made it easier? Because when people are trying to get into treatment, you got to get them when they're ready, because they could be ready at 6 o'clock, and if there's no bed by
Right.
8 o'clock, there
By
might be a bed.
6:05, they're not
Right.
ready anymore.
So
yeah.
what are we getting more funding for inpatient? How are we using? How is that process?
So we are collaborating with the state to make sure people get all the services they need for long-term care. And we have counselors out there
Okay.
to assist people. Understand that our role in the county is primarily as first responders. We're the firemen, the paramedics, the police showing up at your door first. And my job is to make sure that when they go out, number one, they have the life-saving medicine they need. When I got into office last January, 16 months and 17 days ago, we found that many fire companies, volunteer fire companies, would be the first to arrive on an emergency scene, an overdose scene, and many of them did not have the resources to purchase life-saving Narcan, which in a heroin overdose is needed to save someone's life. So what we've done is with partnership at County Council and Green Hill Pharmacy in Wilmington, have equipped all fire companies with that life-saving Narcan. Once their life is saved, that's our job. Let's save their life and make sure they can live till tomorrow. Then we try and make sure it's a smooth handoff to the long-term treatment and care that people need.
Yeah, because that's great. I just want to see more inpatient, because outpatient is hard. It's you got to get people to dry out before they can realize the problem.
Look, Julius, we know there's a shortage of treatment beds here in Delaware and in the region. There's insufficient insurance coverage for many of these things. I have 2 people on my staff at the county who've gone out of pocket thousands and thousands of dollars to help family members, tapped into their pensions and retirements and all sorts of things, just to make sure their child stays alive. You shouldn't have to do that. And we need to work with our insurance commissioner's office and make sure our state law is what we want it to be in terms of getting people the care that they need, both in terms of drug use and all disease.
Okay. Far as safety, I was watching the cities, listening to the mayor and the chief of police. How are things going far as safety and crime in the Newcastle County area?
Well, I don't like to talk about it because it's really good. Okay. And as soon as you start talking about it, it doesn't get so good. But
you can knock on this wood, though.
Knock on wood. The rate of violent crime is as low as it's been in nearly 20 years. The rate at which we're catching people for property crimes, burglaries, and things of that sort is at record rates. Now that has a lot to do with how our Newcastle County Police is organized. They have a property crimes task force that's been doing amazing work for years. Now they're really good at what they do, and it's really very hard to commit a property crime in Newcastle County and not get caught. In addition, we, as I can talk about a little bit, we have serious budget problems in Newcastle County. We're looking at a $21 million deficit in the next fiscal year alone that grows in future fiscal years. Looking at that, I still made a small strategic investment in our DNA machinery last year, and that's paying off. 125 police investigations last year alone, in 2017 alone. 125 police investigations were advanced through the use of DNA technologies. The message should be to you or anyone you know out there in TV land, if they're thinking about committing any crime of any kind, our county police has extraordinary tools that you wouldn't believe, extraordinary technology to find those committing crime and bring them to justice.
Okay. Now, you said that you might have a shortfall. Now, the state just found a lot of money.
Now we might have a shortfall.
Okay.
We do have a shortfall.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Yep. Now, the state just found a lot of money. Have you called a couple of them people? Called a couple? No, because they was calling you when they was in trouble.
They were calling us, and in fact,
matter of fact, they was going to cold-blooded gangster y'all one time.
So we in November we started working with our state legislators to get assistance with the challenges we're having. Keep in mind, we have policing neighborhoods. Who polices neighborhoods in Newcastle County outside the city of Wilmington, Newark, Newcastle, Ellesmere? In unincorporated Newcastle County, who polices your neighborhood? It's Newcastle County Police. If you go to Kent and Sussex County, who polices their neighborhood? It's Delaware State Police. So we're paying $68 million for a police force here in Newcastle County that Kent and Sussex residents don't pay for. Their state police is paid for in part by us. So there's some inequalities.
Wait a minute, hold on. I don't want to get you in any trouble, but the state police have the best contract of any police department, anybody really, period. And you saying that y'all paying their contract?
No, what I'm saying is, if you're in Newcastle County, who polices the neighborhoods? Newcastle County Police, brown uniforms, right? If you're in Kent County or Sussex County, who's policing in the neighborhoods? It's Delaware State Police, blue uniforms. Well, we're paying $68 million to a county police. Kent and Sussex County don't have that cost because that same service is provided by the Delaware State Police.
Oh, okay.
Who pays for the Delaware State Police in Kent and Sussex County?
I'm
Well,
listening.
Kent residents do, Sussex residents do, and we do too. Okay. So we're contributing to their policing, but they're not contributing to ours. There's an inequality. We went to the state legislature and we've asked for 3 things this year, which would help us to shore up this deficit. One is the city of Wilmington has the ability, they have the ability given by the state of Delaware to raise a lodging tax, a hotel tax. So when visitors come to the city of Wilmington, they, in addition to the 8% state tax, they pay up to an additional 3%. Okay, we've asked the state to have that same authority. It's House Bill 377. It's passed the House. It's going to the Senate now. Passing that bill will help us to, first of all, keep property taxes low, right? Keep property taxes low here in Newcastle County, and also have visitors who come here. Hotels disproportionately use emergency services. The number, there were over 1,900 911 calls from hotels in Newcastle County in 2017 alone. We think that visitors coming here should have to pay for that, just like you pay for it when you own your home and your property taxes.
So do you think the bill will pass?
I believe it will pass.
Okay. So, okay, that will help you a little bit. So what else can you do, the state can do to assist the county in their deficit?
So in 1990, the state created what they called a statewide paramedic service. They said no matter where you live in this state, right, whether it's a rich neighborhood, poor neighborhood, rural, urban, suburban, you deserve high quality paramedic service. So they created a statewide paramedic service. Those paramedic services are housed in Newcastle County government, Kent County government, and Sussex County government. They said because the state's creating it, they're giving each county 60% of the money they need to do it. 60% reimbursement. That was 1990. As you mentioned, as the state's gotten into trouble, particularly in the last 10 years, they've dipped into our pocket. Now that 60% reimbursement rate, 24%.
I told you they gangsters. No, I'm just playing. I want you to get no trouble. Go ahead.
Yeah. A lot of them are friends of mine. A lot of them are constituents of ours.
Right.
And they want what's best for the community. Now that they're in a better place, we've asked them to restore that 24% reimbursement to 50%, not to 60%. We should say, hey, go back to 60% when you created this thing. Because there are all these standards and requirements on things we have to do. Imagine if I go to you, Julius, and I say, hey, you have to do this, this, and this, and you have to spend your money doing it.
They're already doing that, but go ahead.
We'll be down in Dover. It's before the Joint Finance Committee. The Joint Finance Committee. The co-chairpersons are Representative Melanie George Smith, who I encourage you to reach out to, and Senator Harris McDowell, who I also encourage you to reach out to, the 2 chair people. We support our paramedics. That gives us an opportunity to fully staff our paramedics. Something embarrassing that I found, our paramedics have not been fully staffed in years.
Why don't you, and the paramedics, I have to give them a good job, a good rating, because they do an excellent job, and I think everybody should. When y'all go down there?
We're going down there Tuesday, but if you can just send a message to Senator Harris McDowell and Representative Melanie George Smith that this is important to you.
I think too that I'll tell the paramedics they need to go down there personally. I mean, the ones who are off, I don't want them to take off, because when they take off, there's a safety.
Less people, sure.
I don't want nobody to be hurt.
Can I say one more thing, Julius? It's just a secret of paramedics that's not often talked about, but it's very important. I believe that in everything the county does, the staff of the county government should reflect the community we serve. the staff of the county government should reflect the community we serve. So if you walk, well, this is a very diverse county, Newcastle County. If you walk into one of our libraries, when you see staff behind the desk, there should be the same diversity behind the desk that you see out in the library generally. In our paramedic service, when we hire, the way we hire now is we hire one at a time because we don't have the money to run a paramedic academy right now and hire 15, 20 paramedics at a time. When we hire one-off, it's just sort of people that come in the door. And just to be honest, they're generally white and they're very often male. So overwhelmingly the last year when we've hired one here, one there, they're white male paramedics who are already trained. When we get this funding, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to announce we're doing a paramedic class, and we're going to do a sizable paramedic class, at least 15 paramedics. I already have a list of 3 individuals, female African Americans, who are really interested in being paramedics, but they're not trained yet. Once we run a class, we will provide the training. So what it does is it dramatically helps us to diversify our paramedic service. And so the paramedics who show up when grandma's hurt, when there's some emergency on the road, the paramedics who show up look like the community that we're serving.
Well, that's a great thing because, you know, there is a problem, but, you know, I just think that's a great thing. And I think oftentimes that what happens in Delaware, a lot of our most talented people leave because they're not embraced. Our most educated and young talented people, they leave because they don't get the opportunity. So that's a good thing.
But good thing you stayed. One of the talented.
Yeah, not me, but I know a lot of them. You know, but that's a great thing, though,
sure.
and you know, it's very much needed. Also, what I want to do, I want to go to Aben, go back to the nice video that you created. Aben is such a talented young man, and let's go through that, and then we're gonna come back. So now, what we want to talk about the county exec is the budget and what's going on with the budget and some things that he's able to talk about. So talk to us about the budget, what's happening with the budget.
So when we came into office last year, we were looking at over $70 million of expenses in the next 10 years that we didn't have the money to pay for. We were looking at a reserve. We had a reserve balance, which is money that's been collected from your taxpayer dollars. That was $54 million in 2013 that had been depleted to under $20 million. And if we didn't do something about it, by next year, we'll be out of money. So we proposed a budget that, as we talked about earlier, included some state revenue assistance. It included some reductions, dramatic reductions in expenditures. Usually, budgets grow 3.5%, 4%, 5% each year. We've proposed an increase in our budget of almost 2%. So it's a very small increase. It includes a 2% salary increase for all employees that was agreed to prior to my coming to office. Okay. We also proposed increased collections activities. I think it's wrong that if you're paying your taxes, Julius, and I'm paying my property taxes, and everybody out there watching us tonight is paying their property taxes, if the guy next door or across the street is not paying their property taxes, it's a vacant home and they've just abandoned it, we need to go after those people and make sure they're paying too. So we've already increased our revenue collection by $1.5 million. We also proposed for the first time since 2009 a small property tax increase. In the city of Wilmington, it equates to $15 a year of additional property taxes. In the whole county, on average, it's $65 a year. So it's not a lot of money. If we do that, it will sustain our emergency services, the paramedics we talked about, police, 911 service, along with our libraries and parks, affordable housing programs, our CDBG, our grant programs. It will sustain it for years to come. Now, I should mention, a lot of council people are afraid. Once they hear about taxes, they don't want to vote for a tax increase. The vote comes up Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday night, the 22nd at 7 p.m. I encourage you to speak out. Let your council person know that these services we have are valuable services. If we don't sustain them, if we say we're never increasing taxes or we're increasing taxes 3-4%, we can't afford these services. If we do this one tax increase this year, just again, averaging $65 for most people across the county, it will sustain us for years to come.
Okay. Now, do you think, okay, I know General Motors was bought by, I'm not sure the young man's name, and how
Harvey Hanna, yeah, the property.
How how will you think all that will help the county?
It definitely will help. On average, our property taxes with new construction, our property tax revenue grows about 0.7% a year. So it grows very small. We expect, as the Boxwood plant develops, owned by Harvey Hanna now, as the port develops, right? As Claymont develops, as even the other side of the riverfront, down what they're talking about with the Sixers Stadium, down Garish's Lane, right? Next to Southbridge there. As employers develop, that will provide increased revenue to the county. The problem is it'll be years coming, and we got to pay paramedics now. We got to run this paramedic class now. But certainly, if those things materialize, it will enable us to sustain your county government for years to come without touching your tax bill.
Okay, because people ask me how do I feel. I'm not going to get too much into it about the port, and I had and I'm always open. I have my views, but one of the directors talked to me, and he said, and he. You know, I'm a little skeptical, but he said, Julius, this is going to be a good thing. And I said, why? He said, because everybody's watching, and they're trying to, if they're trying to buy other ports, he said, this is a mecca. So they got to do what they say they're going to do because the country's watching. There's no way that they can go to buy other ports if they don't do what they say they're going to do in Delaware. I mean, so he made sense, and he opened my mind, you know, to, okay, I could understand that.
Julius, I agree with you that in terms of the future, it's hard to imagine a better situation than partnering with a group like Gulf Tainer. I think first, though, we got to make sure we take care of our past and our present. I am concerned. I don't have any inside information, but I want to make sure that people's health care, that people's retirement is taken care of. Those were promises made to people who've really spent their life at the port, making sure that it succeeded, sustain that institution, and we need to make sure they get their due. And they're not lost in the shuffle that as we're all drunk with the dreams of a bigger port, we lose the rights and benefits that they deserve.
I'm one of them, and right now I don't know where my pension is or what's going on with our pension yet. But again, I'm holding my hat on that. This is going to work out because I have no choice but to hold my hat on that, and so I'm holding on that it's going to work out. You know what I mean? Because I got 34 years.
Only 34. So what, you got 34 left till retirement?
Hey, probably. So I'm waiting to see. But when he told me that he believed that it's going to work out because, again, they're going to want to expand other areas, and they got to do what they say they're going to do because everybody's watching. And it made sense. And again, I'm open and I'm listening. So, okay, and I understand that. Also, I definitely would like next month for you to watch this show because we have to put people to work. And they got a thing on CNN. They had a heroes. They give out the heroes, CNN's heroes, and this man has a farm. And when people come out of prison, he gives them he trains them a trade. And he has 100% success rate once you give somebody a tool. And a lot of people are doing very well who has a trade. And I want our community to see this. And because I ride around to Wilmington, Newcastle County, all over the state, and there's a construction almost on every corner. But I see a lot of unemployment, and we got to find a way to take that and put that together and get everybody working.
Two things, Julius. One is, it's intolerable to me the parties that we contract with in the county. As I said, I want our staff, when you walk in a library, walk in a government building in the county, I want that staff to look like the county that we serve. Similarly, we bid out tens of millions of dollars of contracts a year in Newcastle County. Tens of millions of dollars of contracts a year. And I know Councilman Hollins and Councilman Street have worked very hard to make sure that that bidding process is fair. We made some changes last year and we launched a website, bids.nccde.org. Bids, bids.nccde.org. If you know anyone who's a contractor or a subcontractor, who's in the trades, union, non-union, I don't care.
Right.
Please tell them to go on bids.nccde.org and register to receive notifications. It's very important that the contracts we're giving out are to people in our communities and they look like the people that we serve.
And that's a great, great thing because, again, you got a lot of talented people. Again, I have a nephew who's an electrician. His son is 18. His son's a carpenter. And they're working constantly. He's just bought a house, 18. And a lot of other kids can be doing this with the right guidance. And before the family breakdown, and I don't want to do the show for next month,
right?
But before the family breakdown, you know, even me and my brother, we used to go with my uncle who used to fix stuff, build stuff, and he would just come grab us on the weekends. And a lot of people learn to trade that way. I have guys one guy, Teddy, excellent electrician, and fixed anything. With the man across the street taught him stuff. He learned from Arnold Brown. Arnold Brown, him and his brother were probably the two only African American who had their license. These guys trained a lot of different people, and you got a lot of people doing great things because of situations like that. And again, I don't want to give next month's show away, but I'm glad that y'all made some changes so we can get some opportunities, our community can get some opportunities, because opportunities are hard to come by.
The problem is, Julius, we can set up the website and change the rules, but we can't give out contracts.
Right.
We can't do the contracting work for people. So it's really, really important that we spread the word. We make sure in communities that haven't had county contracts before, they know this opportunity is available and they come after those opportunities aggressively.
See, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, and I think I would like to see somebody from the county come on Sundays and do commercials, and spend some money to advertise these great things that the county are doing that our community is not aware of. And I'm quite sure that you won't have a problem people coming on, doing a commercial, coming on and advertising, because information is power.
No doubt.
And again, I take my hat off to you because we need these opportunities, because I believe the crime rate will drop when people have employment.
I agree. It's not just you and I saying that. That's what all statistics show. Can I give you one more statistic?
Yes, you can.
As of 3 weeks ago, in the United States of America, do you know how many unfilled job opportunities there were?
No.
There were 6.6 million job opportunities. That's employers looking for someone to work for them. 6.6 million, and they couldn't find people to work. They were unfilled job opportunities. Today, it's about the same. It's higher than it's been in over 10 years. There's opportunity out there. Yet, when I walk the streets in certain neighborhoods in Wilmington, even out in the county, there's so many individuals who simply cannot find work. The problem is not an unemployment problem, it's an employment disconnect problem. That the people out there looking for work don't have the training and skills, both hard skills, like carpentry skills, plumbing skills, electrician skills, painting skills, and soft skills. Just generally, when you're with the boss, don't be pulling out your cell phone, right? Make sure to show up and work on time. The soft skills and the hard skills, we gotta make sure that any individual out there looking for work has the job training they need to fill one of those 6.6 million jobs.
Again, I believe, because I know a lot of talented people who just not getting the look. A lot of people are not. I think sometimes they focus on people who are messing up, but you got a lot of people who are not messing up. And like I said again, my wife, her family, and other families who every degree, this and that, but they just don't get the look.
Or also, Julius, people that messed up 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, now they're a different person in a different stage of their life, and that mess up from 20 years ago is still affecting them, and that's not right either.
Right, yeah, and again, and this is good stuff because, and I can't wait to this show because I got all the statistics and the studies and the research studies and all the studies to show what I'm saying. But again, and I'm glad that it's being discussed because the jobs are out there. Like I said, there is plenty of work. It's just that we got to find a way to connect this community to the jobs, and
when people are backed into a corner, anyone is backed into a corner with no opportunity, it can be dangerous. They do crazy things, no matter what, race, gender, nationality.
Everybody's saying
they do
when
crazy things, and you see that anywhere in the world.
Right.
Where there's conflict, people are backed into a corner and feel, whether they have opportunity or not, when they feel like they don't have opportunity, people do things. So we got to make sure that we're looking across our county, our state, and our country, finding those people who feel like they don't have opportunity or in actuality don't have opportunity, and we enable their opportunity. As you said, a lot of them have extraordinary skills and talents,
Right.
but they don't have an avenue to realize that.
Yeah. And my mom always told me since I was growing up, always told me, it's not what you know, it's who you know. She used to always say that. And it took me a while, when younger, to understand that. And again, we have to definitely also teach our community and kids how to network and how to reach out to other people and get to know people. You know what I mean? Even, a lot of us have to work with adversaries, work with different people, but I think that's another thing our kids need to learn. But we definitely have to network and because one guy who's going to come on, his father does cement. His father taught him. They hired 20, 30 people every day, full time, who never got a shot. So the more opportunities we get, the more we can hire people who not getting opportunities, and that's going to drop the unemployment rate. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they do cement finishing, excellent. And they get all kind of contracts around the state. And, so again, you got to tune in for this show because we have to get these jobs and make everybody's life much easier.
What day is it? June?
It's the third Sunday in June at 9 o'clock, at 9 o'clock. Also, too, now, one of my favorite parks is Glasgow Park, and I just...
It's one of my 247 favorite parks, too.
I just love it because it's a peace of mind. So what can you talk about? Any of the parks, talk about any park. Oh, wait, before that, every year y'all have the dog show, the end of...
The Concord Pet...
AKA, I think, the end of May. The end of April. I go every year. It's the beautifulest thing. But what can you talk about some of your parks and
there are extraordinary events at parks nearly every weekend. I was at Casting with Cops last week, where you go out and fish in the fishing pond there at Glasgow Park. We recently added some parking to Glasgow Park. We know parking is a big problem there. We encourage people to ride their bikes. We're actually working on a bike path that would connect Glasgow Park to Lum's Pond. I'm telling you my secrets. We eventually want people to be able to bike all over the county using safe off-road or secured road bike paths.
Yeah.
So that's very safe. We're making investments in Rockwood Park and a number of smaller parks all over the county.
So you're making things healthier. I want also people to understand when you talk about health is wealth. And I love ping pong, and I know you love ping pong. And I have a guy, and for anybody who don't believe ping pong is healthy, Google ping pong and also Google what's the best brain sport. I had a guy play me 3 or 4 months, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Whoa, what you been doing?" And he was like, "What you mean?" His blood pressure, took about his blood pressure medicine, all kind of things that ping pong do health-wise. And we go to Chinatown almost every Saturday night, me, Bubbles, and a guy named Marky D. We play the Chinese guys. We have a great time. But it does so much stuff for your health. I lost like 20-something pounds playing, but it does so much. Me and you play a lot.
Yeah.
We play a few times.
Hicks Anderson.
Hicks Anderson. But I want people to understand the health benefits, women and men. It does a lot. And just Google it, and then Google what's the best brain sport. And it's a wellness thing, and I have somebody now who I'm trying to help get off of, that I don't want to talk about, but it could do a lot of health benefit things for you.
And it doesn't matter if you're not good, you keep practicing and you get better and better.
Right.
You've learned that. I couldn't take you when we first started, and now I beat you every point. It's just practice, Julius. That's all it is, practice. as Allen Iverson says, practice.
Yeah, right. But I would like to see get some type of fundraiser, and with the politicians playing some of the people, and and see if you can facilitate that.
Let's do it.
And let's do it at Hicks Anderson's, because we have kids over there who we taught how to play ping pong, and they are good.
Dabney.
I mean, they're good.
Yeah.
But again, make sure that you just Google ping pong and what's the best brain sport, because health is wealth, and we must get healthier.
We must.
So again, Ivan, we'll go to a quick commercial, and we're gonna come right back. All right, again, thank you. I know we only have a couple more minutes, but again, I'm gonna let the county exec say a few things and finish up, and again, and I'm gonna let him talk for a minute, then we'll come back to me, and then we're gonna close out. But just talk to the community. What you want to say? Anything you want to say?
Good. So, first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity, as always, to come on the show. It's a pleasure to be here and talk to you, Julius. I want to encourage people to get out in your community. There are exciting activities in the parks, both, of course, in the city of Wilmington and out across the county, along with our libraries. Downtown Wilmington Library, they have a new executive director at the Downtown Wilmington Library. You should go check it out, along with Woodlawn, North Wilmington. If you have not been to the Route 9 Library and Innovation Center, you are missing a treat. Please stop by the Route 9 Library and Innovation Center sometime this summer. We continue to look for ways to improve that facility in all our libraries and parks. If you have ideas, we're all ears. We're willing to listen. Okay. Let me just say one last thing. Very important vote Tuesday night to fund our parks, our libraries, our paramedics, as we talked about, and our police. I encourage you to reach out to your county council person. Let them know that if you're in the city of Wilmington, it's worth an extra $15 a year, just $15, to run a paramedic class so we can diversify our paramedics, provide higher quality paramedic service. We can continue to run amazing programs at libraries and parks, continue to be on the cutting edge fighting opioids and heroin addiction. Let your voice be heard. Don't be quiet. This isn't a democracy where you just sit around for 4 years, wait till elections come around. It's every day that we're making decisions that impact you, and you should speak out so you have a voice.
Okay. Again, tune in. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Julius.
No problem. Again, tonight's show is dedicated to Kim Congo. She's an unsung hero who does a great job, and I will have her back because when she's on my show, I had the highest ratings. So she definitely keeps the ratings.
Sounds like she might be a sung hero, though, not an unsung hero.
Yeah, right. But she's great, and tonight, Kim, is for you. But I definitely want you to co-host with me because, again, to keep the ratings up. But, again, and I want to thank everybody. And tune in next month and have your kids tune in so we can try to get them a trade and get them employed. And I hope that the city, state, and county start funding some of these training programs that have teeth in them, as far as the real trades, so people can support their families. And again, good night, appreciate it, and visit the parks. Thank you.